Dodge. Welcome to Green Energy Futures. Last week in part one, we talked to Gregor Robertson, Vancouver's former mayor, about his bid to create the greenest city in the world. Robertson served as Vancouver's longest-serving mayor until 2018 when he left politics. Soon after, he took up a position as the global ambassador of the Global Covenant of Mayors, a network of 13,000 other mayors trying to green up their cities around the world.
Global Covenant of Mayors is the largest alliance of cities working together on climate change and the energy transition. So there are over 13,000 cities that are part of the Global Covenant of Mayors. And we represent the cities basically at the international table, at the United Nations, at the climate summits and climate weeks, and all the various gatherings where cities, states, provinces, countries, and business and civil society get together to figure out how we grapple with climate change and how we transform energy and our economy to be lean and green for the future.
The Covenant of Mayors is a sister organization to C40, founded by Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York.
The Global Covenant of Mayors is 13,000 cities of all shapes and sizes. C40 is where the biggest cities in the world, the mega cities for the most part, although Vancouver is a member of C40, those cities are basically working together to transfer knowledge, to help each other.
Both organizations help cities upgrade their work, improve policies and regulations, access funding, and share their best climate actions with other cities.
The majority of people live in cities now, over 50% around the world in urban areas, but 70 to 80% of our pollution, our climate emissions, happens in cities, and 70 to 80% of the energy use happens in cities. So if we don't deal with our challenges at a city level, we're not gonna survive climate impacts, which are getting worse and worse. And those impacts are felt most directly in cities. That's where our populations are. Therefore, cities in coastal areas are being impacted by sea level rise and obviously hurricanes, extreme storms. Flooding is impacting cities all over the world. Fires we're seeing across Canada and Australia and many other places. So those impacts are felt at their worst in cities. And you know, when you live in a city or when you are the mayor of a city, you have to deal with that on a real-time basis. This is right now.
The Global Covenant of Mayors works with the cities of all sizes, and recently they created a $100 million gap fund to help small cities in the Global South.
The Global Covenant of Mayors initiated something called the GAP Fund, which is a city climate finance gap fund, basically to fund a gap that many small cities in the Global South have to fund, basic climate resilient infrastructure. And there's funds, smaller investments that are going to cities like Bombela in South Africa to support the completion of stormwater management plan, a master plan. So the next flood that comes, they're ready for it. There's a lot of that work happening around resilience related to floods and hurricanes in African cities. Port Vila in Vanuatu in the South Pacific are implementing a waste to biogas project. So using the methane, which is a very, very damaging climate polluter, using it to make biogas that they can use in the city to power their buses.
When it comes to climate action, the all-star cities include Stockholm, Oslo, Copenhagen, Reykjavik, Amsterdam, and Robertson's home city of Vancouver, and a dozen others. These days, Robertson is pressuring 72 national governments to live up to their COP28 climate commitments and work with cities to fund and deliver their climate plans. Find links to stories about cities and much more in our blog at greenenergyfutures.ca. For Green Energy Futures, I'm David Dodge.